Welcome to another episode of Blacktop. I'm here. It's your boy LJ.
Worlds. Day.
So we look, the Cowboys' first round draft pick, CeeDee Lamb, is looking like he's going to be something to reckon with for the season. I think we're seeing him in practice. He's catching the ball from like pretty much any angle. Prescott is throwing it off now. He's throwing it off the mark, and he's coming up. He's showing that he's going to be able to be a big contributor to the Cowboys this season. I think CeeDee Lamb is like, I didn't expect this from him, especially during practice, so I can't wait to see what we're going to get from him in the season. But I think he's ready. I think he's mentally prepared for the season. And I think we're going to see a big effort from him to make sure the Cowboys are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I wouldn't predict the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, their receiving core is really deep and talented. As you mentioned, CeeDee Lamb, who's looking like the hype that he is going to be when Jerry Jones gave him number 88 out of Oklahoma. They got Cooper, who they just signed to a 5-year, $100 million deal. Michael Gallup, Devin Smith. But again, it's all going to be. He won 10 games, 9 and 8-8. So they didn't make the playoffs last year. So hopefully this is a bounce back year for Dak Prescott. Other teams like the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with for years to come. They just re-signed, obviously, Chris Jones and Patrick Mahomes to that monstrous deal. Ravens, I think they took a step back. They cut, was it Michael Thomas? The cornerback. Was his name Michael Thomas?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, they cut him. But defense is still going to be elite. They just lost that piece on the end. Dallas is looking to sign them. You got other teams like Tampa Bay. Obviously, now they call them Tampa Bay. We'll see how Tom Brady does in his new system. I don't think Tampa Bay will live up to all the hype that expected because, again, when you learn a new offense in a new city with Gronk, who hasn't played in a year, so let's see how he looks. Does he look in football shape? Was he the Gronk in New England, that, explosive tight end? But he's going to have those two great weapons in Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. We'll see how the defense is, especially that offensive line. How well they're going to protect that 43-year-old. But Super Bowl pick, I got to see Kansas City Chiefs making it back. I don't see anyone stopping Patrick Mahomes. And I'm stuck between the Saints and the Bucks, but I'll probably give it to the Saints because they just had so many bad lucks. And it's like, you feel bad. I just want Drew Brees just to get back into that moment. I feel like he has one more left in him. I know he has 2 years left in his contract. Michael Thomas, who explosive receiver. And they just got, Emmanuel, the former wide receiver who played for the San Francisco 49ers. So that's extra depth on that team, along with Malcolm Jenkins. First started off with New Orleans. So I'm probably going to go with the Chiefs versus the Saints. I believe that's going to be a great Super Bowl matchup. But I feel like, Patrick Mahomes is going to be back-to-back Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, because this guy is electric, and they didn't really lose anyone significant on the offense or defensive end. So that's my Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, I definitely think Kansas City. It's going to be Kansas City, I think Baltimore, or San Francisco in the Super Bowl. Overall, when you look at Kansas City, they're still pretty strong. You have Travis Kelce, right? You also have Tyreek Hill, Chris Jones, Damian Williams. So they're going strong player-wise. Well, Damian he should be out on injury, but if he comes back mid-season, they'll still be strong even without Damian. So then you also look at Baltimore. You got Lamar Jackson, Ronnie Stanley, who else? Earl Thomas. So they got a strong lineup. Yeah.
I don't know why I said Michael Thomas. No, Earl Thomas is cut now. They cut him from the Ravens. Yeah,
okay.
They cut him.
So but at the end of the day, you still got Mark Ingram, right? Jimmy Smith. Yeah. So you got some players some of their top players. And in San Francisco, got George Kittle. You still have Nick. They have a heavy defense. Their defense is like tremendous right now. Some of these teams, Baltimore and San Francisco specifically. So I think overall, it's going to be an interesting spin to see who actually will take the Super Bowl. But I think the likelihood is most likely Kansas City again. Yeah. And I think they're just too strong. I think there's too many dynamics around this season that's going to limit other teams. And I just feel like they have a good team chemistry already. They already been there. They know what they have to do to get there. They know how to maintain it throughout the playoffs. And I think that's why they're going to be successful.
Yeah, it's definitely tough because we can't watch anything. You know, there's no preseason, and rightfully so. There shouldn't be. I mean, it's arguably shouldn't be an NFL season, but you know, we don't have much to watch, and the final cuts haven't been made yet. So it's really tough to make these kind of choices yet. So don't hold me to these choices. But for the NFC, I'm going to go the Buccaneers. And yes, I know it's Tom Brady's first year. I know it's Bruce Arians' first year. But Tom Brady has some weapons, and arguably maybe the greatest weapons he's ever had in his career. Honestly, no disrespect to Randy Moss. He's arguably the greatest receiver of all time, but this complete package.
Jerry Rice gonna come knocking on your door.
You just look at it. It's Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and let me tell you about this Tyler Johnson guy that they drafted. He's I don't know if you ever watched Minnesota football. They played in a tough division in the Big Ten, and they finally made a statement last season. They went off. And they made it to the playoffs for like the first, like they haven't gone that far in since forever. And it's because of their two receivers, and one of them was Tyler Johnson. And so he's going to be a huge weapon for them. And not to mention the Gronk comes back, but I'm not expecting huge numbers because he has some rust and stuff like that. But I do think a big part of that is that Gronk is going to help out O.J. Howard. And if you don't remember O.J. Howard had a monster season 2 seasons ago, and then just completely fell off last season. He's a player that they wanted to trade, but they held him because I feel like, and I would agree with him, that he still has untapped potential. He's an incredible athlete. We all know how Alabama tight ends turn out. They usually turn out pretty good. And so I think that's another reason why they brought Gronk on, so they can help mold O.J. Howard. Not to mention they got LaShawn McCoy. They drafted Tristan Wirfs, who's arguably the greatest O-lineman in the last draft class. So I have Buccaneers in the NFC. And AFC, yeah, Kansas City. I think it's tough to go against Pat Mahomes, but I'll take the Broncos. The reason why I take the Broncos is because they just stacked up on offense. They just revamped that whole entire offense. They should have started Drew Lock way earlier before it was too late last season, but they started him way too late. When he did start, we saw what he did. He balled out. But the weapons he just has this season. They drafted KJ Hamler, a speed demon from Penn State, who was a straight baller. Jerry Jeudy, we all know, arguably the best, if not top 3 receiver in this past draft class.
Excellent route running.
Exactly, one of the best. I would say I like CD Lamb over Jerry Jeudy, but
his route running skills,
yeah. So they got that, and then they got also Albert O. If you don't know about Big O, he ran the fastest 40 time out of all tight ends. He ran like a 4.6, I believe he weighs like 280, like 6'6". This guy's a freak athlete. I think he's going to be a beast for them. And not to mention, they drafted Noah Fant last year, who's also a supremely talented tight end. And not to mention, they also drafted Levante Bellamy, a very talented running back from Central Michigan. He was one of the top 5 rushers in college football last season in rush yards and rush touchdowns. He was just a straight up baller. And not to mention, they got Melvin Gordon, which was a huge signing for them. And they already have their defense is already stacked. It's always been stacked. Bradley Chubb shows what he can do. He's going to be an absolute terror across Von Miller. So I do think the Broncos are going to make some noise this season.